Well, you join us again in Alicante in Volvo Ocean Race headquarters after an unbelievable first half to this leg 3 of the Southern Ocean, and we've got a lot to bring you today. We're going to be hearing from the two teams that are vying for the lead in the final half-leg sprint into Melbourne. Plus, we've got Neil McDonald, the performance manager for Mafre. But before that, let's take a look at the race right now. These are the positions, and this is how the race has unfolded. Axel Nobel, very glad to see back into the hunt. Behind Turner Tire on Plastic, we're slipping behind Sun Hunkai Scallywag. Team Brunel and Vestas 11th Hour Racing also trying to chase down that front pack. But right now, it is all about the race between Dongfeng Race Team and Mafre. We spoke to Juan Villa, the navigator on board Mafre, to get his insight on just how intense that battle is.
Yeah, everyone's in good shape here. Yeah, we had no major problems, and yeah, just we've been some obviously rough conditions on deck, as you saw. We had this gale on the 3 days ago that also was hard, but the crew's holding yeah very well, and all very enthusiastic to just try to push as much as we can to try to have the best result for this leg.
The big question about that storm that was hitting the fleet was how hard are you going to push? Are you going to save a bit of energy? Do you guys, even though you've been working incredibly hard in the big wind, still feel like you've got plenty of energy left in the tank?
Yes, especially we had after that we had some calmer conditions to recover a little bit. For sure, it was tough on everyone, and conditions on board obviously weren't very pleasant. But everyone was looking forward and was holding out and putting the best of everyone to make it through. And we know that these conditions, all the other boats would feel the same. So the harder we could push, it would basically mean miles that we can pull ahead of other boats.
Well, we're seeing the footage from your stern camera. It's obviously very wet on deck, so understandably you're downstairs at the nav station. So tell me what you can see about Dongfeng Race Team.
Have them on the computer every now and then, not all the time, but sporadically they come up on AIS. They're about 5 miles to wind or about quarter, and yeah, just lately we seem to be pulling bearing a little bit. Which is good, and we'll see how it goes from there.
You're gaining a little bit. Is it always that way, or do you sometimes lose?
It just goes back and forth. As we saw even yesterday on the jab, there was one of them that we just crossed ahead, and then on the next jab you're behind again. So it's just a little bit of a banshee right now. But yeah, as I said, we're sure will be plenty of opportunities to do something different and just try to find our lane, and hopefully it will work for us.
And with all the conditions that you guys are facing, and then this backwards and forwards between Dongfeng Race Team, it must be unbelievably intense on board.
Yeah, everyone is very excited about that too, so that gives an objective and something to fight for. So yeah, it's unbelievable how everyone here is pushing and tries to do its best to just make the things that we want happen.
Looking ahead for the second half of this leg, what moves have you got up your sleeves? You know, do you think you're going to be overtaking the French-Chinese team just in a drag race, or is it going to come down to tactics?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a drag race, but there will be plenty of opportunities further on along the track. There's jibes to be called after the ice limit zone, and there's also the approach to Melbourne, which could be quite interesting. So I think there will be plenty of opportunities.
Juan, thank you so much for that insight. I will let you get back to that fight with Dongfeng Race Team. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Juan Villa on board Mafre with his take on this incredibly tight battle at the front. But let's take a look at what they're in store for. This is what the computer is predicting for their course and how that breeze is going to change over the next few days. Now, our race experts here predict that over the next 48 hours, Mafre and Dongfeng Race Team in the lead are going to see 20 knots plus consistency, while the rest of the fleet struggle as lighter winds come down from the north. Now, Carolyn Brower is on board Dongfeng Race Team, holding on in that front fight, and Conrad Coleman spoke to her about this amazing battle of the red boats.
Yeah, it's it seems to be the battle of the red boats indeed. Yeah, just not too long ago, we actually had a port starboard situation with Mapre out in the middle of the Southern Ocean. which is it's an amazing thing to actually have happen, and the guys on MAPFRE actually had to ease the masthead sail and arc up behind us to avoid hitting us, which is something quite amazing when you're out in the wide open ocean with no one else and nothing else around you. We've, like you mentioned, been battling it out, jibing the whole night through, probably an hour max on each jibe. So it's been a pretty tiring night. And right now we're actually finally on sort of a long port stretch, VMGing downwind, and when we're up on deck we can see MAPFRE just sort of 4 or 5 miles to leeward of us.
Is it exciting? Is it frustrating? Is it emotional to see that all that you do means that you can't get away from them?
I think it's a little bit all of the above, actually. Obviously for us on Dongfeng, it's a little bit frustrating because we did have a bit of a lead on these guys, and they just sailed better, maybe maneuvered better during the night, and just caught up those miles on us. So a little bit disappointing and frustrating, but it doesn't stop us from keep working hard to stay together and stay with them. And but at the same time, it's a pretty amazing thing that you're out here in the middle of nowhere, but you do have a boat, your opposition, right beside you. So in the end, that does make it exciting. It's a little bit surreal, almost, in a way. You pass each other, you give each other a bit of a wave, and you continue on. And but at the same time, it makes all of us push the boats harder as well, because we're all fighting for those couple of meters to stay ahead of each other. So it makes it puts the pressure on for sure.
A word about MAPFRE. You've been seeing a lot of them. When you cross jibes like that, do you have the same sail set up? Do you can see them doing anything differently?
This is what's so cool about the Volvo Ocean Race, that you're in the Southern Ocean. We've probably got over half of the leg done, a couple of 1,000 miles under our belts during this leg, and we've still got a boat right next to us. And we've been through some pretty extreme conditions, and we've just been through a night of jibing, and still you come up on deck and there's a boat right next to you. So for me, that's what the Volvo Ocean Race is about, and that's why the race is so cool, that you can come out the other end of the Southern Ocean and still just be a couple of miles apart. So for me, that's what the race is about. And yes, for sure, when you cross each other, you got to keep the boat sailing, but you're also keeping an eye on each other and checking each other's sail setup, configuration, how everything's trimmed. The stack, for example, we had a split stack. They had the same exactly split stack as us, so that's a confirmation that we're happy with what we had, as they have the same. So you do check each other out a little bit. And then you give each other a wave, and you wish each other the best of luck, and keep fighting to be ahead of each other.
All the best with staying healthy and enjoying the incredible conditions that you have up on deck at the moment.
They certainly are incredible. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, we spoke to Carolyn Brow. We've heard from Juan Villa on board the boats, but one man that's been watching this race unbelievably closely is MAPFRE's performance manager, Neil McDonald. Conrad Coleman spoke to him just before we came on air.
Here in Race Control, and certainly the fans all the way around the world, have been just blown away by the workload on board these boats at the moment. The number of tacks all the way down the Antarctic exclusion zone, certainly between the two race leaders, MAPFRE and Dongfeng. Can you talk to us a little bit about what life is like during this really intense period?
I think hell would be the only word I could use. I mean, I think it's difficult to visualize the enormity of the physical effort and mental grind that this jibing duel has given the guys. one or two of those maneuvers every day would be enough to wear a lot of people down. But doing them every half an hour, it's just it's mind blowing. I look, watch, and I just know how much work and how much stress gets involved, because it's a hell of a decision for a navigator and skipper to make when you're actually asked to go do another jibe, knowing that people have just got down from the last one. It's hard work, very hard work.
Can you sort of give us some idea about what exactly is involved every time we see a kink in their track on the tracker?
Yeah, I mean, we do have a playbook, but jibing is one of those things that we actually do a great deal of practice of when we're training. It becomes second nature for the guys, so they won't be thinking about their playbook. They'll just run to their positions. Normally in a maneuver like this, there'll be one person does a particular job. We don't chop and change. Everybody's capable of doing every job on the boat, but obviously some are much better than others. So you'll probably see only one, maybe two people driving during the maneuver like that. Somebody will have a specific spot. One person will do the main, one person will be on the pit. There's no daggerboard maneuvers in a jibe, so that's one less kind of thing to worry about. But basically, it's winding the sails in. When it's windy, the most important thing is to get the main in, and when it's lighter, the front sail has to come across. So most of the energy is during the jibe itself is focused on winding the winches.
And so can you talk us a little bit about what the decision-making process is for the skipper, Xabi Fernandez, and the navigator, Juan Villa, as to just how hard you can work the boat and the people and have it pay off in the end?
It's like, most of sailing is one big compromise, and you've got to balance all these things up. Initial indications come from the routing. Juan will be judging how much we're losing VMG-wise on each jibe. So he'll have an idea what the losses are for the jibe. Putting those into the routing will give quite a good indication of how regularly they'll need to jibe. If the wind doesn't change very much over 10 miles, then you go 10 miles and you wouldn't dream of driving. But if it changes 0.2 of a knot, then you start thinking, well, yeah, you can't go on forever like this. So some of it will be based on numerics. But Xabi will be looking at the guys. He won't want to break them. He knows he's got to leave some in the tank. There's a tremendous balance going on, and not easy. Much easier with another boat close by. And I think, if you could imagine these boats weren't in sight of each other, I'd be interested, but I don't think they'd jibe quite as regularly, but I think they'd still be doing it.
So, as you say, boats right next to each other, literally just a couple of 100 meters away after a week of sailing in 50, gusting 60 knots, it seems.
Gosh, I mean, it's like a gladiator's duel. It really is. The two of them are banging each other to death. I think they will be doing more maneuvers because the other one's there. And hopefully they'll both have a balance on just how much that's going to wear the crews out. We've got to obviously think not just the next 6 days, we've got to think the next 6 months. So it's not an easy balance. Hard work out there, and kind of almost wishing I wasn't out there at the moment. I'm pleased I'm not out there. I think most of this leg I'd have enjoyed, but this driving battle wouldn't be for somebody of my age.
Neil McDonald giving us some insights to exactly how intense it is in the lead at the moment. Two teams staring right into each other's eyes as we go into the last half of leg 3 into Melbourne. We've got another quick fix for you tomorrow morning, and then the Daily Live at 1300 UTC. I'll see you there.